Welcome to the Stockboy Gaming channel. I'm the Stockboy, and today we're looking at all the German tuners in GTA Online. A lot of these are on sale this week. You might be looking at them and wondering which one is best. Well, I'm going to answer that question for you. Plus, we'll talk about how they handle, driving styles, all that fun stuff. And if you're new to the channel, this is what what I'm testing for, I suppose. Basically, this video is a little bit late, but thanks for checking in anyways. It's going to be a good one. I had a huge week. I'm a family guy. I had a kid's birthday anniversary this week, and my Avs won the Stanley Cup. I've been a fan pretty much my whole life. I grew up playing hockey, so big week for me. Go Avs. First up, we're doing the Tailgater versus the Cypher. We're going to do some realistic matchups, and then we'll put the two Porsches up against each other. The Cypher beats the Tailgater to that 8th mile line, and it's going to keep that gap and extend it even a little bit on the way to the quarter mile. So the Cypher's looking a little quick when it comes to acceleration. This is just one test of many, but good start for the Cypher. Now we're going Comet S2 versus Growler. We've got 911 versus Cayman a little bit, kind of, in the GTA world. Which one's going to get to that 8th mile line first? It's going to be the Comet S2. If you know me, you know I love the Growler. These are new tests again. So the Growler surprised me a little bit this time around. I do love that car. Comet S2 will beat it to the quarter mile line, though. So now we've got a Comet S2 versus Cypher battle, and this is going to be a good one. The Cypher dominated the Tailgater. The Comet S2 beat the Growler. Which one's going to get to that 8th mile line? Watching as it comes up, it is the Comet, but the gap is actually not as big as I was expecting. So is the Cypher going to be able to claw its way back? No. The Comet actually extends the lead, but you're going to see right here, the Cypher is not too bad when it comes to acceleration. And all these cars were nerfed, of course. I haven't driven the Growler much, which is one of my all-time favorite cars in this game because of that nerf, but I finally brought myself around to doing a video like this. The event week helped a lot with that. These are some of my favorite cars in the game. Just hands down, the tuner class to me is the best class in GTA, and I wish they would do more with it. But we're going to test top speed now. Average speed around a giant custom speedway that I built. See which one of these cars is the fastest. If top speed is your thing, this is a good test for you. And we'll see the Comet S2 is actually on top of the Growler by about 1 mile per hour, not by a ton. The problem, the Tailgater and the Cypher way down there, and the Cypher at a 117 average speed is so bad. But, these cars are here for a reason, and we're going to see them right here on my test drive. We want to see how well they handle a technical circuit. This kind of puts everything together plus handling. The Cypher and Tailgater are going up against each other again here first. Winner of this battle is going to take on the winner of the Growler Comet S2. And look at the Cypher with a huge gap so far to the Tailgater S. Both of these cars handle really, really well, but as we saw in the quarter mile and top speed tests, they just don't have a whole lot of power. That's still going to be kind of okay, as you'll see as this video goes along, because their handling really makes up for it. And the Cypher handles extremely well, and you've probably seen it do decent in some tuner races. With the Tailgater, on the other hand, its power is just too low. It's too low to be able to redeem itself in any way with its handling. It handles extremely well, though. So if you like 4 doors, the Tailgater is still a really good car. It's extremely stable. You can just throw it around corners. You can do the same thing with the Cypher, but as you're about to see here, that difference in power is just too much to overcome at this track, no matter how well that Tailgater handles. But it's looking really good for the Cypher, so I'm excited to see how the Cypher is going to handle the Growler and the Comet S2 here. Which one's going to come out on top? That's the big question, and this is a big battle for me. One thing I was reminded of when I was driving this Growler is how much I loved it, even though I was so bitter about them nerfing it as hard as they did. It just works for me. The handling is so perfect in my opinion. It has that little bit of oversteer, and it's perfect oversteer. I just love the car. But you can see the Comet S2 is starting to reel it in. After that first gantry, we go through those double right-handers, the Comet S2 starts to come back at it a little bit, and the Growler does oversteer like I mentioned. It's difficult to drive, and actually both of these cars can be difficult to drive. They've got about the same gap here. We know that the Comet S2 has more power, but the Growler is so nimble, it's just going to fly through this last section. So this is going to be a really good battle as we go down that home stretch after this final corner. We're going to see if that Comet S2 can catch the Growler. And this is a drag race right now, but the Growler, so nimble, so quick through that final section. that it actually puts a pretty decent gap between it and the Comet, which is pretty cool to see. My Growler is looking like it might come out on top in a video again, and I'm so excited. If you're on a PC, probably don't get the Growler. You're not going to like it. It's going to be hard to control if you don't have a controller, and if you don't want to control your throttle, you're not going to like it either. But we've got the Cypher and the Growler here. We're going to see that first gantry. The Cypher is a lot closer than I was expecting. So the Cypher looks like it's putting up a bit of a fight here in this final test. The Growler is going to fly around these final two corners, but you have to be a little careful on the throttle. Where the Cypher, you can just keep the hammer down, and we've got a race now. These things are really close. You've got that extra rotation from the Growler that's going to help it coming out of the hairpin, and the little bit of extra power is going to help down this straightaway too. But the gap is still manageable, and the Cypher handles extremely well, so will it be able to keep up through this little chicane? It's not really looking like it so far. That Growler is just flying through this final section, and it gets its lead back a little bit there. So, down this final stretch, we know the Cypher doesn't have power, but I will say I am really impressed with how it handles my track. Really, really good handling with all of these cars. It just depends on what your style is. I love to see the Growler coming out on top with a 58-second lap. I love that so much. All these cars are mid 1 second, mid under 1 minute, except for the Tailgater. Its time is a little disappointing, but you can see here with the speed score, we've got two cars that are really close to each other at the top and the bottom. So the Cypher and Tailgater really close. Comet S2 and Growler insanely close. You can almost switch them. I mean, just I don't know if I've seen a speed score that close before with that equation. All really awesome cars. Really what that speed score tells you is that the best are the Comet and the Growler, but if you want cars that handle really well, this video is full of them. I mean, these things handle so well. The Cypher and the Tailgater are going to be much more forgiving, with the Tailgater being the easiest to drive. It's also the slowest, so you got to kind of figure out what's going to be important to you. The Comet S2 under acceleration can oversteer a little bit, but it's a little easier to control than the Growler. I still think that the Growler is actually easier to drive than it was before the nerf, because with its reduced power, it's a little easier to handle the oversteer. But really, oversteer makes cars fast. You never want a race car that understeers. Oversteer makes cars fast, and people always get pissed at me for saying the Growler is good, but the Growler is an amazing car, and if you give yourself a chance to learn how to drive it, I'm sure you'll love it too. Thanks so much for joining today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, like the video, all that cool stuff. Thanks again, and I hope to see you next time.